Let's talk He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. We've brought it up before, but there have been quite a few updates since that video came out. Jason Emmett here with the Movie Mix. Listen, I grew up on He-Man. I bought the toys. I watched the cartoon. I even watched that horrible 1987 live-action film starring Dolph Lundgren. Now, there have been several variations of the series over the years. A few not so great, and a few that are pretty decent, and one or two I actually thoroughly enjoyed. But the question of when, because we all knew it was when and not if, when they would try another live-action version, well, it's been answered. So we first heard back in 2019 that the movie was going to land in 2021. But, 2020 was a rough year all around, and it ended up being pulled. Now, for a while, we didn't hear much, and then earlier this year, we started hearing some story details regarding this movie. So, the Masters of the Universe movie has gone through a number of companies and a bunch of different actors, a bunch of different directors, but it finally landed with Amazon MGM. Travis Knight was then announced to be directing. Knight has worked on Paranormal, Box Trolls, and Bumblebee, all of which are wonderful movies. The first draft of the screenplay was penned by Chris Butler, who has also worked on Paranormal. We also had David Callahan and the Nee brothers working on the script after, just to kind of clean things up a little bit. So we started hearing the plot details a while back, which left me a little taken aback. I'm going to go ahead and read you the plot synopsis straight from Mattel's website. The film will follow 10-year-old Prince Adam, who crashed to Earth in a spaceship and was separated from his magical power sword, the only link to his home on Eternia. After tracking it down almost 2 decades later, Prince Adam is whisked back across space to defend his home planet against the evil forces of Skeletor. But to defeat such a powerful villain, Prince Adam will first need to uncover the mysteries of his past and become He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. All right, so 10-year-old Prince Adam crashes on Earth and is separated from his sword for like 20 years, but then he retrieves it, turns into He-Man, and has to protect Eternia against Skeletor and the bad guys, whatever. This is, of course, not the OG story. This is not the story of He-Man that we know. He-Man was always He-Man, was always on Eternia. The only crash landing I ever knew about was He-Man's mother, who was from Earth and crash landed on Eternia, met his dad, had He-Man. But that was never a big part of the story. I think it was like 1 episode or 2 episodes of the cartoon. Taking this story to Earth was a huge misstep for the 87 film. So I'm kind of shocked that they're going to go this direction, although I will say I suspect the Earth part isn't going to be much. At least I hope it's not going to be much. I have a feeling, it's just going to be like an origin like Guardians of the Galaxy kind of thing where he's on Earth, but we get a little bit of backstory and then he gets, whisked off to Eternia earlier on in the film rather than later. I don't really think it's necessary to even do this. We could just have him on Eternia and I think it would work out just fine, but for whatever reason, they decided to go this direction. We'll see how it turns out. All right, so the next odd choice for me was the casting of Nicholas Galitzine as Prince Adam and He-Man as both. He is both. Galitzine is known mostly for romantic comedies, and he isn't exactly an imposing figure. I mean, this dude's going to have to get way cut in order to pull off a believable He-Man, and right now, he's just not that. Now, I know Chris Hemsworth had been offered the role at one point, but turned it down as he thought it was too much like Thor, and I get that. I do understand that. It made way more sense to me, though, that Chris Hemsworth was offered the role, but, whatever. Camila Mendes has been cast as Teela. She is probably most famous for Veronica on Riverdale. I did not watch Riverdale. And we also have Alison Brie from Community fame as Eva Lynn. These casting choices are fine with me. I really like Alison Brie. I hope she pulls off the Eva Lynn character really well. She looks the part okay, and I don't have a problem with either of these as far as cast goes. So obviously Skeletor is going to be in this. We know that from the synopsis, and it only makes sense. I assume Man-at-Arms, Sorceress, and likely a few more characters like Beastman, maybe Ram Man, etc. Okay, so I've read some rumors. That they have talked with Jared Leto for the role of Skeletor. Now, normally, I'm not a Leto guy as far as his acting goes, but this almost works for me. He somehow just sort of fits the role with both his look and his over-the-top acting at times, I can see him as Skeletor. I think this makes sense. I've heard a few fan castings: Viggo Mortensen, Michael Fassbender, Alexander Skarsgård, all decent options. Hell, I think Bill Skarsgård could probably pull off Skeletor too, although he would make an excellent Trapjaw. Give me the wrestler Braun Strowman as Beastman, and for Man-at-Arms, someone a few years older, but, tough, like Idris Elba, who is likely too big a name, but would be cool. But, Gerard Butler would be a really decent pick, I feel like. Or Frank Grillo. Frank Grillo would work as Man-at-Arms as well. Anyway, guys, give me your thoughts down below. Who would you cast as Skeletor and Man-at-Arms? Go ahead and drop a comment. Also, share this and hit the like right before slicing through that subscribe button with your sword of power. The Masters of the Universe is set to release June 5th of 2026, and I'm sure we'll have more updates before that. You should check out the 2 Netflix animated series of He-Man. They're both pretty good for different reasons. And until next time, guys, stay awesome.